Hi, this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see the summary of Cry, the Beloved Country, a novel by Alan Paton. This is a historical fiction. Alan Paton was a novelist and anti-apartheid activist in South Africa. Apartheid means the fight which they did for the discrimination which was given to the black Africans by others. That is, the black Africans were treated as lower and many rights were denied to them. And here in this novel, he explores the discrimination against black South African citizens which led up to apartheid. And actually, this novel was published before apartheid was in progress. And this outlines the experience of one Mr. Reverend Stephen Kumalo, who travels to Johannesburg to help his sick sister. While in Johannesburg, Kumalo discovers that his son Absalom has murdered a white man who is the son of a farmer near their village. The novel discusses grief and racial divides as well as hope for future free from discrimination. Reverend Stephen Kumalo receives a letter from Reverend Theophilus Simengo about his sister's illness. Kumalo leaves the village of Dotchini and takes a train to Johannesburg, hoping he can help his sister, as well as discovered what happened to his son Absalom. When he arrives at Simango's house, Simango tells him that his sister Gertrude has become a sex worker. Simango promises to help Kumalo find his son Absalom. Kumalo goes to see his sister Gertrude and convinces her to come with him to Dotchini with her young son. Simango takes Kumalo to see his brother John, who has become an activist for equality for black South African citizens. John gives them information about Absalom and his son Matthew, who started living together. Over the next few days, Simango and Kumalo discover Absalom, who was stealing from white people's houses, and they also find out that he has impregnated a girl who was waiting for him to marry her. Father Vincent, a white priest who is close to Simango, shows them a newspaper article about a white man named Arthur Jarvis who was murdered in his house. Arthur was a civil engineer fighting for equal rights for black South African citizens. Meanwhile, Kumalo learns that he is the son of the wealthy farmer and landowner James Jarvis, who lives in the hills above Dotchini. The next day, he receives word that the police arrested Absalom for the murder of Arthur. Kumalo visits Absalom in church. He feels angry because Absalom does not seem remorseful. Kumalo sees John in the prison because his son Matthew was an accomplice to Absalom. John tells Kumalo that the only reason his son is in prison is because Absalom said he was present at the crime and that he is going to hire a lawyer. Kumalo then visits Father Vincent, who counsels them through his depression and grief and tells him to pray. He later brings Absalom's partner to live with him until they are ready to leave for Dotchini. Father Vincent finds a white lawyer named Mr. Carmichael who offers to defend Absalom for free. After learning of his son Arthur's murder, James travels to Johannesburg. In the next few weeks, Absalom's trial begins and he tries to convince the judge that he shot Arthur out of fear and not out of malice. Absalom's trial comes to an end and the judge rules him guilty, sentencing him to death by hanging. Kumalo tries to comfort Absalom, but he is dragged away by the white wardens. Upset, Kumalo visits John and accuses Matthew of betraying Absalom. John becomes angry and kicks Kumalo out of his house. As Kumalo prepares to leave for Dotchini, Simango promises that if there is no mercy for Absalom, either he or Father Vincent will be with him when he dies. The next morning, Kumalo gets ready to leave with Absalom's partner, while his sister Gertrude leaves her young son behind her. Kumalo reunites with his wife in Dotchini and introduces her to Absalom's partner and their nephew. Dotchini suffers from drought and children are dying because there is not enough milk from cattle. James hears about the villagers' suffering and sends Kumalo milk every week. The magistrate arrives in Dotchini and James arranges a dam for the villagers. James hires an agricultural demonstrator to live in the village and teach the residents how to farm. Kumalo receives word that Absalom will not receive mercy and that he will be executed on the 15th of the month. On the 14th of the month, Kumalo decides to walk to a mountain and hold a vigil for his son. He crosses paths with James, who tells Kumalo that he will remember Absalom. Kumalo thanks him for his help. He climbs the mountain and thinks about his son as the sun rises on the day of his execution. And here ends the story. If you have anything more to add on to what I've said, please write it in the comment box. Like the video, share it with your friends, and if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe and support. Thank you.